Generation X, the unsung powerhouses wedged between the booming baby boomers and the tech-savvy millennials, truly embody the grit and backbone that defined an era. As the thumbnail of this video proclaims, we didn't run our mouths, we just did it. And that's exactly why we've emerged as the strongest generation to ever walk the earth. Remember the days of biking 5 miles to school, rain or shine? Or how about eating whatever was in front of us because it tasted worse the next morning? Bet you can't imagine that today, right? If you were Gen Z, you'd probably be lost without GPS and a safety net. But for us Gen Xers, we learned early. Don't complain, or you'll really have something to complain about. We grew up tough, we grew up resilient, and we didn't need constant approval to stand our ground. Before we continue, let me share some observations about today's generation that might not exemplify strength. Imagine someone sucking on a strawberry vape, constantly scrolling through social media, and snapping selfies just to gather enough likes for their daily dose of dopamine. Depression rates among Gen Z are soaring, with many experiencing burnouts and struggling to cope. You want to know what really makes a generation strong? A hefty chunk of our grit comes straight from our grandparents, the greatest generation. These tough-as-nails folks who chewed on the bitterness of the Great Depression and spat out the horrors of World War II, hammered into us an unshakable grit and ironclad resourcefulness. I owe a hell of a lot to my grandparents and the rock-solid wisdom they hammered home. They weren't about handouts or soft living. They taught us the grind, value hard work, pinch pennies like their life jackets, and stare down life's sucker punches without flinching. Their saga of surviving the roughest patches of modern history sketched us a map to navigate chaos and kick ass in a world that won't stop changing. Their legacy? It's the backbone of Gen X, armored us to face down any storm and bulldoze through walls. We did not run our mouth, we just did it. That was the unwritten law of our upbringing, etched into the very fabric of our generation. Raised in homes where discipline and duty stood as pillars, we tackled chores without complaint or delay. From mowing lawns before the sun got too high, to washing dishes the moment dinner ended, our tasks were non-negotiable. This no-nonsense approach extended beyond mere household duties. It was a philosophy that shaped our entire character. Our parents instilled in us a stoic resilience, a quiet resolve to meet life's demands head-on. Words were cheap. It was actions that counted. This silent stoicism wasn't about suppression. It was about survival and strength, learning to manage whatever life threw our way with a steady hand and a closed mouth. We were molded to be doers, not talkers, champions who thrived on accountability and the satisfaction of a job well done. We were young and independent, true pioneers of self-reliance from a tender age. Our parents were often not home, caught up in the hustle to make ends meet, leaving us with the house keys and a list of responsibilities that would make today's helicopter parents gasp. By the time we hit the front door after school, we were on our own, masters of our miniature domains. The command was simple: be home by dark. And so, under that vast sky, we claimed the streets as ours, biking far beyond the safe confines of modern playdates, playing epic games of hide-and-seek that spanned entire neighborhoods. There weren't any cell phones to summon us home, just the distant calls of dinner or the flickering streetlights signaling that our day of freedom was drawing to a close. This wasn't neglect, it was normal, and it taught us to handle life head-on. From bandaging our own scraped knees to settling our own squabbles. Generation X's biggest asset? We're as comfortable with a rotary phone as we are with a smartphone. We're the only generation that naturally bridges the analog and digital divide, seamlessly integrating solutions from both realms. This unique ability to navigate between technologies, from dial-up internet to high-speed broadband, from cassette tapes to streaming music, has endowed us with unmatched creative problem-solving skills. Whether it's fixing a car engine using old-school manuals or optimizing software using the latest apps, we handle it all with equal finesse. This dual fluency makes Gen X uniquely versatile and inventive, masters of both the tools of the past and the innovations of the present. With one foot in the past and one in the future, we dance through challenges that stump other generations, always ready to exit stage left with solutions in hand. Long before work-life balance became a trendy hashtag, we were the champions of managing it all on the fly. Our childhood didn't include lavish birthday parties or orchestrated playdates. It was about figuring out how to entertain ourselves without a dozen digital devices at our disposal. We stood on the roof of the house to turn the antenna for clarity. Even in the rain, which made it slippery, we worked from 12. This wasn't deprivation. It was a crash course in innovation and adaptation, skills that later became our professional superpowers. Our resilience wasn't just born. It was built from these early trials, proving that our ability to juggle multiple tasks while keeping our cool is nothing short of legendary. Accountability was learned very early for us. The responsibility of our actions was never something to be shirked or passed off to others. From owning up to broken windows from an errant baseball to managing our first part-time jobs, we understood consequences and embraced them without a safety net. This foundational principle shaped us into adults who take ownership seriously, driving us to lead by example and command with integrity. It wasn't just about being responsible, it was about being accountable to ourselves and those around us, a trait that seems scarce in today's blame-shifting culture. Our generation didn't have the luxury of finding ourselves or taking gap years to wander aimlessly. We made decisions swiftly, stuck by them, and powered through challenges with a gritty determination that was non-negotiable. When the recession hit, we didn't whine. We adapted, finding new paths or creating them when none existed. Our careers are patchworks of bold moves and strategic retreats, marked not by entitlement, but by earned respect and hard-fought gains. We didn't wait for opportunities to land in our laps. We chased them down, often outpacing those who doubted us. This relentless drive isn't just ambition. It's a deep-seated will to prove that we can thrive, not just survive, no matter the odds. Flexibility was our playground, not just a corporate buzzword. We were the Latchkey kids who adapted to whatever the day threw at us. There were no constant updates or digital schedules to guide us, just the necessity to think on our feet and pivot at a moment's notice. We handled changes in plans, power outages, and last-minute cancellations without a meltdown, teaching us a level of adaptability that's become second nature. Our capacity to seamlessly shift gears is not just a learned skill. It's embedded in our psyche, making us invaluable in today's fast-changing professional landscape. We embrace the outdoors as our primary entertainment, not an occasional getaway. Summers were spent building tree houses, swimming in the local creek, and exploring woods, activities that built physical and mental toughness. This wasn't structured, sanitized play, but raw interaction with nature that taught us risk management, resilience, and respect for the environment long before it became a global concern. Our hands-on experiences have ingrained a sense of adventure and independence that sets us apart from those who spend hours curating digital lives indoors. Our social networks were built face-to-face and maintained with genuine, ongoing interactions, not just through clicks or likes. We forged friendships on the basis of real-time shared experiences, learning negotiation, empathy, and the nuances of human behavior firsthand. This has not only honed our interpersonal skills, but also deepened our connections, giving us an edge in both personal and professional relationships. In an age where digital communication often replaces genuine connection, our ability to engage personally and meaningfully is more relevant than ever. The reasons are clear. Generation X embodies unmatched strength because we didn't have the luxury of easing into adulthood. We faced the music early, adapting to rapid technological changes, while preserving the hard-won lessons of previous generations. Our resilience isn't a boast, it's a well-documented track record of overcoming obstacles that would have halted others. So when you question which generation stands the strongest, look no further than Generation X. If you are Generation X and you liked this video, then subscribe to the channel